Hi sewists and aspiring sewists, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Doyen, and in today's video I'm going to be teaching you how to make this beautiful cargo skirt. So if this looks like what you're interested in, then you want to keep watching this video to the end. So to achieve this cargo skirt, I'm going to make use of these basic materials here. So I have this rope here, and I'm contemplating between the two ropes that I have here, which one is going to be suitable for this cargo skirt. So this is the stopper I'm going to be making use of. Then we have this stretchy 2 inches elastic band, which is about 1 yard here. I also have this quality cotton fleece fabric here, which is also about half trouser. This is what I'm going to use. So you can see the inner face, this which is like a towel back. So we know for that delay, let's just get right into the cutting process. The first thing you want to do here is to lay your fabric on a fold. So you're going to be folding on the part that has the rough edges. So basically I'm going to just trim out the edges that I have here. So next I'm going to take my body measurement. So what I have on measurement book is length 18 inches and hips 40 inches. So these are the basic measurements I need. So I'm going to divide my hips into 4. So what I have is 10 inches. So I'm going to just measure 10.5, which also includes my seam allowance. So what I'm measuring on your screen is 10.5 inches. So once I have that done, I'm just going to go ahead to measure my length, which is 18 inches. Now because I'm going to be attaching a waistband to this skirt, I'm going to take out 2 inches. So we're going to be left with 16 inches, right? So from that 16 inches, I'm going to add my seam allowance, which is about 1.5, and my folding allowance, which is about 1.5. So what we're going to measure in total will be 17.5 inches, which is what you can see me measure on your screen. So I'm just going to do that repeatedly, to form a line across. So I'm just going to be connecting these lines together, just as you can see on your screen. So once I have all of this measured, I'm just going to go ahead to cut out what I have here. So I'm trying to leave an allowance at the upper part because it's going to be useful whether for the waistband or any other thing. So I'm trying to manage my material at this point. So after cutting, this is what we have left. So at this point, you can try to modify your length measurement to your preferred length if you want it to be your knee length or whichever way. So next thing you want to do is to fold another fabric which is about the same length measurement for the front part of your skirt. Then you're going to fold it like this, leaving an allowance of about 1 inch, which is going to be for the back side of your cargo skirt. So this part here should be about 1 inch, just 1 inch. All you just need here is 1 inch. So once I have my 1 inch measured, I'm just going to pull a straight line, which is going to serve as a margin for where I'm going to be sewing on, just as you can see here. So once I have that marked, I'm just going to be cutting out the shape of what I have on the front bodies of my skirts. I hope you understand. So you might be wondering what's the importance of the allowance we left on the back side. The essence of the allowance is so that we can have a closure after attaching our side pockets to the skirt. I'm just going to be cutting equally, just as you can see on your screen, and this is what we have. So you can see that what we have here is measured as 10.5 inches. So I'm just going to open up this zipper allowance because we're going to be joining it together. Next, I'm going to cut out my waistband. So I'm going to be positioning my waistband on a fold like this, just as you can see. Remember, we took out 2 inches for the waistband allowance, so I'm just going to add half inch seam allowance to the 2 inches. So what I'm going to be measuring here will be 2.5 inches. So I'm just going to make sure that I measure 2.5 inches on different angles, just to be sure that I have 2.5 inches here. Now for the width of my waistband, I'm going to divide my hip measurements into 2. So what we should have should be 20 inches. So I added 1 inch allowance just for an extra allowance. So I'm just going to be cutting this out. So next I'm going to be cutting out my side pocket, which is my combat pocket. So I need 2 pieces of this. That is why I'm positioning this together. So what we want to do here is align it together. So I'm going to make sure that every part is straight, which is what I'm trying to trim out here. So for the width of this pocket, I'm going to measure 8 inches, and I'm going to mark that point here. So the width is going to be 8 inches. So by the time I'm done attaching everything, what we should have left should be 7 inches. So for the length, I'm going to measure 9.5, which also includes the folding allowance and the sewing allowance. I hope you understand. So by the time I'm done folding and everything, I should have 8 inches equally. I hope you understand. So I'm just going to be cutting this out, just as you can see on your screen. So we have 2 pieces of this because we only need 2 pieces for the skirt. So I'm going to put this aside. Then we're going to cut out the cap of the pocket. So I'm just trying to make do with what I have because I have a limited fabric here, and I want to make sure that what I have left is enough for the compact pocket. So what I have here is enough for the cap, so I'm just going to be placing it on the fold like this. So for the length of my combat pocket, I'm maintaining 2.5 inches for the length, while for the width, since we measured 8 inches for the width of the combat pocket, I'm going to add just half-inch allowance, which is going to serve as my joining allowance because I'm using my overlock to join the combat pocket. So I'm just going to cut just as you can see on your screen. So I'm going to attach this to my combat pocket. So this is what it's going to look like. So the next thing you want to do here is to cut the side part of your combat pocket. So I only need about 2 inches allowance for this. You can make yours 2.5, 3 inches. I'm just trying to manage the fabric that I have here. So it depends on how full you want your pocket to be. You can make yours 2.5, you can make it 3 inches. So I'm just going to be cutting a random length here, but I'm maintaining 2 inches each for each of the pieces I'm going to be cutting out here. So I need a sufficient number that I know is going to be enough for my combat pocket. So I'm just trying to make do with what I have here. Also, while cutting, do not forget the rule of streetwear. While you're cutting, make sure that the stretchy part is the part that forms the width. Even though I'm working with the cotton fleece, this particular cotton fleece stretches slightly towards the width area. So make sure that you are maintaining that same rule. The stretchy part is the one that is forming the width. So this is how I'm going to be placing it on around my combat pocket. So I'm just going to put this aside. So just in case you're wondering, while I'm rolling up my piece together, I do this most of the time just so that I'm not leaving out any piece behind. So the first thing you want to do here is to put your side piece aside because you're going to be joining them. So after that, you're going to also weave this part because you're going to be folding it. You can decide to use your taping machine. So when you're using your taping machine, you don't need to weave that part. So the next thing here is you're going to be weaving this side of your cap, just as you can see. So you're also going to be doing the same thing here, just as you can see. So for this side piece, I'm going to be joining them together to form a straight piece, just as you can see, making sure that the right face is facing each other, just as you can see. So after joining, this is what it looks like. So this is the main body of him for the combat pocket. So I'm just going to be folding this at about 1 inch allowance, just as you can see. And just like I said previously, if you have a taping machine, you don't need to do all of this ceremony, just make a straight folding. So I'm just going to do that also on this part, making sure that the folding allowance is about 1 inch. Then for this for the combat cap, all you just need to do is turn it over to the right face, just as you can see me do on your screen. So this is what it looks like. So I'm just going to be top stitching this on a straight sewing machine, just as you can see. And this is the second one. I'm also going to be doing the same thing on the second one. I'm going to top stitch on this side. I hope you understand. Then I'm going to put this aside. So this is I already went ahead to weave the top part of this piece here. So I'm just trying to cut out whatever joining I have here. So this is what it looks like. This is how it is. So this part I had already gone ahead to weave it. So I'm just going to be sewing on this part about 1 inch or 0.75. Just make a fold on it. So once I'm done sewing that, this is the body of my combat pocket. This is also the body of the second side. So I'm just going to check if it's equal to each other, and you can see that it is all straight. So I'm just going to straighten it together to fit into my measurement. So whatever excess I have on the other one, I'm just going to trim it to be equal, to make it equal with what I have on the other side. So I'm just going to do the same thing on this other side, just making sure that it is equal basically. I hope you understand. So what we have here is equivalent to 8 inches equally. So what we want to do next is to attach the sides of the combat pocket.
Hello, I'm super super excited to announce to you that our online courses are now available. So if you are interested in learning more about streetwear, you want to know how to make t-shirts, joggers, hoodies, varsity jacket, tracksuits, sweatpants, cargo pants, and so many more, these courses are made for you. The courses are displayed on your screen. So if you are interested in registering for any of these courses, then you want to just click on the link underneath this video to register for these courses. And guys, guess what? These courses are well detailed. You're going to be learning how to identify fabrics, how to match make fabrics, size charts, measurements, and the like, depending on the course you are actually subscribing for. So you don't want to miss out on this opportunity. So kindly click on the link in my bio. Can you click on the link in the description to actually register for this class? Bye.
So I'm just going to attach this on this part, then I'm going to pin it just as you can see me do right here. So once I have this pinned, then you want to extend this towards this downside. So at this downside, you're just going to pin here as well, and you're going to turn this over like this. So I'm trying to bring it closer so you can see what I'm trying to do here. Then you're also going to extend it towards this point. So I'm also going to pin this part here just to secure the side part of my cargo combat part. I hope you understand. So I'm also going to extend it towards this part here. Then on this part here, I'm going to trim whatever excess we have. So I'm going to remain about 1 inch here, which is what I'm going to be folding on, just like I did for the starting point. I hope you understand. So basically I'm going to be sewing from here. Then when I get to this point, I'm going to also sew on the downside and extend it towards. So I'm basically sewing a 4-corner shape. I hope you understand. So I'm also going to repeat the same thing here. Now because I have not weaved this part and I have not folded it, I'm going to leave an allowance of about 1 inch here, which is going to serve as the folding allowance. Then I'm going to also measure round the 4-corner shape. Then I'm going to leave an allowance for folding here again. So what I have here is my folding allowance. So I'm just going to go ahead to run a stitch on this part. So after sewing, this is what it looks like. So if at this point you're not getting it right, then you want to just play back the video. So I'm just going to be notching this sharp edge of my combat, just as you can see me do right here. Then I'm going to just trim towards this area just to make this part, just to erase the allowance that we have here. So I'm just going to make the allowance there very slim, just as you can see me do right here. So I'm also going to do the same thing for the other pocket as well. Then I'm going to be turning this over like this. So this is what the outer part looks like. So I'm just going to be top stitching round the shape of my pocket here. So I'm going to top stitch round this square shape of my combat, just as it's illustrating in this video. So these are the 2 pieces I'm going to be top stitching on. So after top stitching, this is what it looks like. So you can see that our combat pocket looks more defined after top stitching. So this is also the cap, and I've also gone ahead to top stitch. So this is what it is looking like. So I'm just trying to do this so you can have a clear view of what we're trying to achieve. Next, I'm going to join the sides of my skirt. So I'm going to separate the front from the back. This is the front part of my skirt, then this is the back side. You can see how I'm aligning them together. So the joining of the back side is what is going to be at the center on the back side. So I'm just going to be making a stitch at the sides of my skirt. So after making my stitch, this is what it looks like. So this is what we have. So I'm just going to couple everything together to see the remaining allowance that I have. So this is remaining allowance that I have for the backside joining. So what I'm going to be doing here is on the side of my skirt, on both sides, I'm going to be marking out the allowance for my combat pocket. So from this top side of my skirt, I'm going to come down by 5.5 inches. So just in case you are not as tall as I am, you can make yours 4.5 inches. So I'm going to form the center point of my combat pocket on the downside and both on the top side. So I'm just trying to create the center point with this candle here. Then I'm going to just position it on this part of my skirt, just as you can see. So basically I'm just going to mark the top point margin here on the side, then do the same thing on this other side, then do the same thing on the downside, just to know the margin of what I'm going to be sewing on. I hope you understand. So once you have all of this done, this is what we have. So I'm going to make sure that while pinning, I'm pinning on this point, just so that we don't have a wrong positioning. I hope you understand. So I'm just going to fold the side piece a little, then I'm going to pin it together with the bodies of my skirt, just as you can see me do on your screen. So I'm also going to do the same thing on this other side, just fold a little, because remember that the allowance we actually left for the side was about 2 inches, so we don't really have much allowance to fold in. So I'm also going to just fold down towards the other side. So what you just need to do is just follow the line of the margin you created. So while doing that, just make sure that you are pinning towards the major points, that's the four corners of your combat pocket. I hope you understand. So make sure that you are pinning towards this major point, because this is what will determine how balanced your combat pocket is going to be. So I'm going to just do that repeatedly on both sides. So I'm just trying to fold like this and make sure that it is aligning towards the downside. Then I'm also making sure that the downside is also aligning towards each other, just as you can see. So while sewing, you don't have to stretch, just follow the line, just position it and follow the line. So you're going to sew round the shape, just as you can see me illustrate in this video, making sure that you're not stretching it. Even if I thought there's going to be any excess, make sure that the excess is towards the side edge at the downside. So after sewing, this is what it looks like. So you can see that our combat pocket is properly laid. So I'm just going to be extending this upper part towards this downside of my pocket. Then I'm going to be pinning down, just as you can see. Then I'm going to do the same thing on this other side. Make sure that I am pinning down. So the main thing we want to do here is reverse, make a double stitch on this top part. I'm also going to do the same thing here, join this top part together like this. Then I'm going to pin down, then also do the same thing on this other side here, pin down as well. Then I'm going to be making a multiple stitch on this top side here. So now for the combat cap, I'm going to position it like this, and I'm going to be making a stitch on this part here. So I'm also going to do the same thing for this other side here. I'm going to make a stitch here as well. So after sewing, this is what it looks like. So I'm just going to be top stitching on this cap here. I'm going to top stitch on this other side as well, just as you can see. Then once I'm done top stitching on the cap, I'm going to fold my skirt like this. Then I'm going to be forming a closure on this allowance we left behind. Remember the 1 inch allowance. Then I'm going to be making a straight stitch on that part. So after sewing, this is what we have. So I'm just going to be turning this over to the right face, and whoop, this is what we have. This is what we're able to achieve. You can see how elegant the combat pockets are looking like. You can see that it is very beautiful, very demure, and very cutie. Yeah. So the next thing we're going to be doing here is we're going to be working with the waistband. So what I have here is 21 inches. So remember that while we're cutting the waistband, we also measured about 21 inches. So we only have just a slight inch for the allowance, but because I'm working with a stretchy fabric, not so stretchy but slightly stretchy, so I'll be able to get an allowance for my seam. So what I'm going to be doing here is stretch my elastic band to fit into the measurement that is on this fabric. So the reason why I love to adapt this method is that we have a lot of non-stretchy fabric out there that even measurements would not make it grip our waist area. So the best thing is to stretch on your fabric so as to determine what will be sufficient for your waistband. So once I have that done, I'm just going to be joining these parts together. So after sewing, this is what we have. So I'm just going to position my elastic into this piece I have here. So I'm going to just insert it like this. Then I'm going to spread out this joining part. Then I'm going to just position my fabric on the waistband like this, leaving an allowance of about half of an inch. So the measurement of the elastic is about 2 inches, just so it's about 2 inches. So I'm just going to align my elastic. I'm going to basically be tucking it into the fabric I have here. So while I'm doing that, I'm also going to be pinning down, just as you can see right here. So you might not really see the clearer view of what I'm trying to achieve, not until I sew this round. So I'm basically just going to pin on different angles here, just to indicate the allowance of where I'm going to be sewing on. So this is how I'm going to be stretching while I sew. So I'm just going to be sewing on the same allowance, just as you can see me illustrate here. So the pin part is where I'm going to be sewing on. So I'm going to make sure that while I'm making a straight stitch round, I'm not sewing on the elastic. So after sewing, this is what it looks like. So the next thing you want to do is to attach this round this top side of your skirt. So I'm going to just locate the joining part of my waistband and attach it towards the joining of my skirt, just as you can see. Then I'm going to pin this down. So basically I'm just going to pin this round the circumference of my skirt. So just do it as convenient as it is for you, so you can, just circulate it around like this. That's just the way I'm doing here. So I'm just going to make sure that I am stretching my waistband as I pin, just so that I am able to secure this round my waistband. So I might not be able to pin all of this down, but while I'm sewing, I'm just going to sew round, making sure that I am sewing within the allowance of about 0.5 round my waistband. So after sewing, this is what it looks like. So I'm just going to be weaving this waist area of my skirt. I'm going to weave this part round. Then I'm going to come to the downside to weave the downside also. Then open up this center point here. So after weaving, I'm just going to be folding the downside of my skirt by just 1 inch allowance, just as you can see me illustrate on your screen. So you can also decide to use your taping machine at this point. So after that, this is what we have. So the next thing here is I'm going to create a hole at the center point here. You can actually do this even before inserting your elastic by creating a buttonhole around there. So I'm just going to insert my rope around this elastic band here. So basically I'm inserting through the hole and I'm also coming out through that hole. I hope you understand. So after inserting the rope, this is what it looks like. So I'm just going to be adding this topper to it. I call it topper. I don't know what the real name is. So I'm just going to insert it like this, and then we have it. So if you watch this video to this point, this is me saying thank you so much for always tuning in and watching my videos. Please kindly like this video, comment, and if you're yet to subscribe, please subscribe, and I'll see you again. Bye.